So, this band has been everywhere for a good bit now. I think ever since they released their cover of Begging, that things have kind of continued to trend upward for them. That band I'm talking about is a band from Italy called Måneskin. They're known mainly for rock music, even though they do incorporate some pop elements in there sometimes, but by that I mean it's more pop rocky on occasion than it can be full rock at some points. However, I've always seemed to enjoy the things they put out. Their first two albums were actually pretty solid. I did like those. When I heard this new album was going to have 17 tracks on it, I kind of thought maybe that was a little too much of an overload because their first two albums weren't super long, so you can get through them pretty easy and, make up your mind. But now we got almost an hour of content to go through here and 17 tracks. But you know what? I mean, when we talk about their new album, Rush, I don't know how they did it, but 17 tracks, and we have an almost flawless record here. I guess the two songs that I didn't really like were probably the two most annoying in my eyes, which were Blah 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 and Cool Kids. I don't know, I don't like the way the song is sung on Cool Kids, and with Blah Blah Blah, it's just one of those typical, they're not even making a noise. Blah 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 is more just like a thing you say when, someone's talking too much, and you're like, yeah, whatever, be quiet. But they just didn't hit, I guess, as much as the other tracks did. In the okay spots, we have Timezone, Don't Wanna Sleep, Read Your Diary, and El Dondo, Della, Vita, which, again, are pretty decent songs to say the least, but I felt like there could have been something done better. However, I will give it to El Dondo Della Vita. That was a very eerie and darker song than what we got on the record. It is very, very nice. And yes, there are two songs on here that they sing in their native language, which is Italian. So, for an American like me, you might not necessarily understand the lyrics, but that's kind of when you pay attention to the music, and those songs were good. As like I said, Il Dondo della Vita, it was more the music, I think, that made me appreciate the song more than, usual. Then the rest of the album isn't my favorite tracks. On My Mind and Gossip, those are the first two songs on the record. I think they do a really good job. Gossip features Tom Morello of Rage Against the Machine and Audio Slave fame on guitar. Then we have Baby Said Gasoline, which I absolutely love the bass line by, I think her name's Victoria, on Gasoline. It just, right at the beginning of the song, just hits you right in the face. It's almost like if a bass guitar had a death note, that would be it. But it's not like a death note because it's a bad bass line. It is an excellent bass line that I just absolutely love. I think it's just because of how angry it sounds. It doesn't sound like your typical regular bass line that you're used to hearing. It's just like boom, 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 it sounds like it's trying to basically sound like a pop beat in almost a way, but they're doing it with a bass guitar, so I thought that was really cool. But, Victoria, the bass player, she has some really good bass licks on here. We have the song Feel, which I also like, If Not For You, which is one of the more softer tracks on here, Mark Chapman, which kind of takes a page out of the punk playbook, and La Fine, which is the second of the tracks that is spoken in their native language, which I just really, really like it. It's one of those things where even though I don't necessarily understand the lyrics, it's fun to sing along to, and again, the instrumentation was very good. Then we have Mamma Mia. Now, the thing with this song, I will say, is that Mamma Mia to me just sounded like I Want to Be a Slave Part 2, or I Want to Be Your Slave Part 2. That was the first song I ever heard from them, and I'm sitting there listening to Mamma Mia, it's almost got the same kind of guitar thing going on, drums, and, the way the chorus and the verses play out. Play those two songs side by side, or just play them back to back, and you'll see what I'm talking about, because you pretty much won't really even tell the difference, but nonetheless, it's still a good song. Then we have Supermodel, which does have some cringy lyrics, I will say, but, it flows very nicely. And then the album closer, The Loneliest, which kind of mixes the softness and the high intensity of the song in general. I think it was actually a nice choice for closer because it's one of those songs that it works on its own and is different from the album, but yet closing it out is just perfect, because I feel like that's when you kind of start to get taken out of the album, not in a bad way, but you're getting ready to now just kind of get ready for the album to end, and had it have been put anywhere else on the record, I don't know if it would be in my favorites, but it was like the perfect choice for an album closer. So yeah, I'll say 3 albums in, this band is still doing a really, really nice job. Like I said, when I heard this was going to be 17 tracks, I wasn't too sure, because I'm like, usually that means once you start getting over 12 tracks, there might be a lot of filler attached, but not really. The only ones that felt like filler were Blah 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 and Cool Kids. The rest were just passable enough or really good to say that this album is definitely one that I would recommend. I'm so glad my first album of 2023 is one that I actually enjoyed. 8 out of 10 for this one, would recommend to you, and that's that. The next couple of months I'm going to be busy with album reviews. Not necessarily busy, but I'll have Paramore next month, Fall Out Boy in March, and Metallica in April. So you'll still won't be seeing me for long periods, but as of right now, I only really have 1 to 2 albums per month for the first 4 months right now. But this one, my first album review of the year, definitely went very well, and I enjoyed it all the way through. So I would recommend that you go and take a listen to this, especially with songs like On My Mind, Gossip, Gasoline, Mark Chapman, and I'll even say Il Dondo, Della Vita is another one that I think for you people who are more fans of the more eerie, kind of darker stuff, that one is for you. But until then, if you've heard the album, you can tell me in the comments below what do you think, and I will catch you all in the next one.